evening, Glass Cannon Nation, and welcome back to Get in the Trunk. I'm here with my good friends, Troy, Sydney, Skid, and Francis. We are very excited to hang out with you tonight and play a little Delta Green, a game of cosmic horror in a modern setting. And a lot of themes that we've been dealing with over the last 2.5 years at this point have, these themes have crossed over several different shows. We've been talking about them for years. These chambers in horror and Lovecraftian horror sort of settings. And it begs a question today that I want to put to the group to kick off today's session in an effort, honestly, to see where this adventure is going to go as it plummets in toward the end of its final season. There are some, I don't know, concepts or ideas that I want to kind of see where you all are at, because it just is interesting to me, and I think that it could be very impactful to the story. And I'm gonna go around the horn here, and I'm gonna do it in a very specific order for a specific reason. The question is, if I say Carcosa, the place of Carcosa, the name of Carcosa, what does that conjure in your mind, and what do you think of Francis? When I say Carcosa, what's the first thought that you have?
Another world, like a completely different existence with people that are similar to the people we know, but just I like another universe, like an
alternate universe.
Yeah,
or like a different planet.
No, like an alternate universe in my mind is what Carcosa is.
Okay.
And also something sounds something horrible, but like to that universe is probably just like normal. Like, oh no, this is just how things are. But for us, I think Carcosa is probably a nightmarish place.
Okay. You probably think, what do you imagine those nightmares to be?
I don't know.
Totally okay to not know. I'm just curious what your brain
I've been
projects.
I've been recently watching this show Dark Matter on.
Is that based on the book?
I don't know.
There's a Dark Matter novel that was like hot.
It's possible. I just found it on Apple TV randomly, and I started watching it. But it's all about multiple universes and multiple that are adjacent. So it's you go to another universe and things are similar, but then there's some major difference due to whatever changed in that timeline. And
all
it's
right, so you kind of think of it that way, it's an alternate reality that's close to our reality, but slightly different.
Yes.
In sort of a horrifying way, but you don't really know why. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
It's unsettling.
What about you, Sid? When you think of Carcosa, and I'm talking, this can be meta too. I'm not asking what Vicky thinks Carcosa is. I'm saying what is your experience of Carcosa thus far in your life?
Yeah, I feel similarly to Francis. And I feel like it's a lot of films and TV shows have sort of done similar things to Lovecraftian horror and Carcosa and stuff. And it makes me think of the movie Coraline, where she travels through a door and ends up with a family that's not her family. And it's something's off, and it's this eerie, weird feeling to be from our world in that kind of world, or in Stranger Things, the Upside Down, which literally reminds me of the book we found in this game of A World Without Doors, of the city that's upside down. And that's how I think of Carcosa, is this city that time doesn't control it. The buildings come up and then the building is gone. And I think in that way, I think of it like a nightmare world where, one thing seems like one thing and you turn around and then you turn back, the camera pans away, the camera comes back, and then it's an entirely new landscape.
Okay.
And it's just it fucks with you mentally. I think it's a mentally draining world. So to be Sydney in Carcosa, I would go insane instantly.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
You've touched on a lot of things there. I'm going to grab one, which is I don't know Coraline. People rave about it. I've never seen it, but is it sort of that? To me, sounds a little bit like surreal horror, where it's kind of what is unsettling is that things are close to the way they're supposed to be, but not, and it's just okay, and
almost
then,
Uncanny Valley.
I don't know that one either.
Uncanny Valley is humans that look, it's animated movies that are really close to looking hyper realistic, but are not hyper realistic. And some people get this really unsettling feeling called
Yeah.
Uncanny Valley, where they're like,
Oh.
I can't watch this. Like the human, they look, but they're not human, and it like freaks
Yeah,
people
what was the
out.
fantasy movie? Was it like a Final Fantasy movie or a Dungeons and
there
Dragons
was
movie?
something. Final Fantasy had one.
Final Fantasy, where they
years ago.
tried to do hyper realistic CGI, and it was just
Yeah.
like freaky to kind of look at. I was
It was
like, ah.
unsettling. It was definitely unsettling.
So wait, that concept or that feeling is called Uncanny Valley, or is that the name of a show that did that?
I think that's the feeling of the human, like it looks close to human, but not, is like the Uncanny Valley thing.
I've heard that reference. Yeah, that uncanny.
So Sid, to you said two different things. Is Carcosa a world or is Carcosa a city?
I think Carcosa is a city. And this is also Sydney not remembering correctly about Carcosa. And
No,
the
there's
things that
no
I've learned.
correct. There's truly no correct. I'm just
I
curious.
think it's a city, and I think it's like it has like 2 moons or like 2 suns or something, and there's like a lake, and there's all this weird stuff about it that is almost like the history. Like people have experienced these things, but nobody knows for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what about you, Skid? Do you have anything to add to what's been said so far that you know of Carcosa or think of?
I think it's hell. I think it's like the closest analog is the human conception of hell. You know?
Yeah. In what way? Because, if I think of hell, I think of fire and brimstone and eternal torture.
It is, but that's what it is. It's not literal fire, but it's eternal torture, because that kind of the madness that entails just knowing of its existence or existing there yourself. It's just like if you've ever done acid and it's not going well, and you're like, man, this is never going to end. It's just like, yeah, it never ends. You're in that and it doesn't actually end. Like that's kind of what it seems like to me.
Yeah. Like being trapped in a place like that, an alternate reality that you can't escape from. Yeah, could definitely be just hell. It's just that's what hell is.
Jacob's Ladder scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Troy, I presume
by Tim Robbins's.
Dear God,
Ugh.
where's Susan Sarandon?
Troy, I'm
One
curious.
Sarandon, even Chris Sarandon, just to break up the monotony.
I'll take any
Chris.
Sarandon.
Any Sarandons you got?
Troy, you must know. I don't know how much you know about Carcosa or think about or have read about in other adventures about Carcosa. What are some aspects or images that come to your mind when you think of Carcosa?
So, I'm running our Strange Aeons Adventure Path. Been running that since 2018, and Carcosa figures heavily into that. And I've run a bunch of Call of Cthulhu, even though Time for Chaos is the Masks of Nyarlathotep playthrough. I've run certain scenarios that, like the one we did at Gen Con last year, where like Lake Halley is there.
Yes.
You are in Carcosa. The thing about like the Elder Mythos, sort of anything that falls under the heading of Lovecraftian, is that Lovecraft didn't write all of it, and sometimes he would take ideas and run with it, and then people are still running with some of those ideas today. Many of his contemporaries were taking his stuff and moving it around or inspiring him, and vice versa. Like Carcosa, I don't even think was him. I think it was Ambrose something or other, if I'm remembering correctly. But my conception of it, so that's all to say that like Carcosa itself in the mythos has taken on several different meanings, and I'm sure the Delta Green developers with this Impossible Landscapes have put their own spin on it as well. But my sort of collective knowledge of it is that it is a city among many cities on another planet / in another universe.
So
and
there
that
are
could be
other
another dimension.
cities.
There are other cities,
that are adjacent to Carcosa that might have other names that are also alternate realities of pure horror. Like, do you think it's horror, or do you just think it's another place, an alternate
I think it's
place?
part of it is unknowable. My conception of it at this point is that it is I always thought, like when I didn't know a lot about the Elder Mythos, that it was just like the alien entities, that it's all of that. You think of Cthulhu, it's just a bunch of those running around. But
Playing tennis,
Carcosa,
hanging out, like
Carcosa
having a drink
is
after work.
specifically the realm of the King in Yellow. And his rules are a lot different than the rules of Cthulhu or Yog-Sothoth or Shub-Niggurath. Like, they all have their own jam. And his thing, I think it's a pretty sophisticated society.
So when you picture this city, what do you picture?
I picture a city with, skyscraper buildings and whatnot, but they defy our concept of reality. So the buildings may twist and turn, and they have strange and odd angles. But once you're inside, it might be totally normal. Very similar to what we experienced on the night floors. That's my concept of it. There's a society. There's always masquerades. There's balls. There's all of this fancy stuff, all in service.
Are there people walking around in the street, well dressed, chatting with each other?
I'm not sure about that. I would think so. But then a part of me also wonders if everything only happens indoors. I think it's the type of thing that if you're looking at the skyline and you look away for a second and look back, the skyline has changed. It's
similar to what Sydney said.
It defies sort of the physics that we understand on Earth. It's a constantly mutable realm, all sort of controlled at the whims of Hastur.
Cool. Okay, that's great.
Nightmarish.
Nightmarish. Sydney, I just wanted to add in real quick. There's so I was playing Pacific Drive. I was telling you about this.
Yeah.
That is really, really fun video game. And I thought of it as kind of like a horror game. And it actually isn't. It's really just kind of unsettling a lot, And there's not horrible beasts. There's not jump scare fights or anything like that in the game. But you will, man, and it comes back to Impossible Landscapes too, with stuff that Bobby has seen, you guys have seen in the night floors. You will be walking around outside in that game and have to pick up an item that you need and then turn around to go back to your car, and you will pick up the item and turn around, and there will be 3 mannequins just standing there that were not there 2 seconds ago when you walked by, and they don't attack. They don't do anything. They never say anything. They're just there. And there's no I don't know. It's just so unsettling and so weird. And that game is about the landscape constantly changing. You look and then you turn, you look again, and it reforms itself, the level, in ways. And it's very unsettling. So I get that concept being tied to Carcosa is pretty cool. You also mentioned a lake, which is very interesting. I'm not sure where you're picking that up from. I mean, Troy mentioned it too. Where did you get it from? The Gen Con show. Yeah.
Lake Hali, in the play, they say on the shores of Lake Hali, the play The King in Yellow, they say on the shores of Lake Hali where the twin suns set. That's all in there.
And I think at the Gen Con show, when we did Modern Cthulhu, that it just so happened that one of the characters, when we looked outside, we saw a lake. And we saw buildings crumbling and rebuilding or whatever. And I think, my knowledge of Carcosa is really from our role-playing games. I've just sort of sewn together stuff. But it makes it hard not to metagame. Makes it hard not to think you know what's going on. But not in Delta Green. You just simply don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's partially true. I guess the reason I bring it up is because I'm comfortable with a certain degree of metagaming. We just got to talk it out. We got to talk about it because The King in Yellow and Hastur, as Troy has said, his machinations are so sophisticated and so beyond our own knowledge that the metagaming of our own game is included in that and is rolled into it. Now, there are times where you could be like, there's no way my character knows that this actual thing is happening that's 2 blocks down or something like that. I'm not talking about that kind of metagaming, but I'm talking about there's no reason you couldn't be like, Vicky thinks that there might be a lake. At this point, you guys are so impacted by this over the last 2 years of your experiences, and you're in character the last 20 years, that you... nothing is off limits as far as I'm concerned about what you think Carcosa may be and what is going on there. Remember, sometimes you just got to take it back and refocus in on what the campaign is that you're playing. We're playing Impossible Landscapes, the subtitle of which is A Pursuit of the Terrors of Carcosa. The King in Yellow is a secondary, and The King in Yellow. But Carcosa is listed on the front page as something we are pursuing. So it's very interesting to see how Delta Green would handle a horror of this nature, and that's what we've been kind of working towards.
But I love the idea that it doesn't matter. We can metagame, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that, because a lot of the horror that usually you end up dealing with in fiction requires buy-in for you to be scared by it. But it's with this, it's just doesn't matter if you buy in. It's still going to scare you. Yeah. You could say this is just a story. It doesn't matter. It's still fucked up.
Yeah. Pick up Impossible Landscapes.
No matter how much you invest in it or not, it's it's still there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind you guys picking up the PDF to Impossible Landscapes and just reading the the intro letter from one of the developers. Because it's just so creepy. It's all about like the evidence of this kind of stuff in day-to-day life, like these unexplainable coincidences that, can be tied back to some entity that is moving chess pieces on a board. I mean, it's very scary. Even if you see it right in front of you and know what it is, it's still terrifying. But all right, let's jump back in to our story where we left off. In a brief summary, you guys woke up in a house, and suddenly Francis's character Bobby found himself falling unconscious and nearly bleeding out from whatever you guys experienced in the night world as you transitioned there from in the hospital. Roger and Neil left in an effort to not be caught up with law enforcement or emergency personnel, but Vicky insisted on calling 911 to help Bobby. So she called 911 to help Bobby, told the police that she did not know this person and that she was working on a different case. Local Boston PD let her go on her way, and Vicky, Roger, and Neil fled the scene while Bobby was taken to a hospital by emergency personnel. There in the hospital, he seems to have fallen into some sort of a coma. He is not conscious, but is stable and is at this same time experiencing some strange, like you said, Sydney, like alternate reality or something, where he is in the fatigues of a World War II soldier fighting in some combat in what seems to be some European or Eastern European location, and saw his father, the colonel there, who was insisting that Bobby needs to crack the code that the British soldiers are sending through that gives you the details of how to get to the palace. And Bobby is just like, what are you talking about? He's coming to this out of nowhere after just being in the Dorchester house. The three of you get back to Neil's hotel room at the Ritz, which upon walking up to it and inside of it, Neil sees the insignia and logos of the Hotel Broadalbin. He sees Elmer, the receptionist, who he loosely remembers maybe, while Vicky and Roger see something completely different, just the Ritz-Carlton in Boston, and a completely different receptionist that is like, what's going on? And Roger is enraged at this hotel that men open doors for other men. It's setting him off to that, that he gets close to that snapping point. You never know what Roger's going to do. After going up to the room, before going up to whatever, during this time, Vicky, you call Sam and get an unsettling phone call from your son at college that he just seems off, doesn't seem himself. You call Christopher to tell him, like, please check in on him. Something's up. Christopher's like, where are you? What's going on? When you kind of piece together telling him what you're doing, you're in a hotel room under a guy named Dr. Bachman with Roger, and there's a plot to con your son, and you need a secret doctor sent to Neil because he can't go to a hospital because he's undercover. You sound like an unhinged lunatic. Christopher says, I'll call you back, and hangs up. Roger says some nasty things to you before asking you for money.
To go to the bar. To go to the bar is where he was going.
And then drinks 4 of your doers from the minibar and leaves. Neil was in the bathroom, seeing strange things, trying to wrap his head around, is he in the Ritz-Carlton or is he in the Hotel Broadalbin? He rolled some dice and realized it could be either. It's really straight down the middle. It's 50-50. Vicky, exhausted, fell back to fall asleep. And the last thing that we saw as we zoomed in was a dark hospital room where Bobby seems to be stable but unconscious. And just as we came in close, we heard the sounds of gunfire, of explosions in the distance, as if Bobby was somewhere else. Let's return to there. So we are going to then immediately cut from that, boom, into these war-torn streets as gunfire is going off left and right, and we're in the middle of this fight. Now, you have run several blocks from the original location where you started, where Colonel William Walford's, along with some of his along with the 2 platoons that he has under his command, somebody was yelling that there was, that the mortars had dialed into your location. You were moving, trying to transition to another location, and he had told you previously that your objective was to punch through these lines, the Black Wind lines, in order to reconnect with Delta Company, at which point you may be able to make it through the factory and to the palace. However, you needed to crack the code that the Brits were sending to Private Lavallee through a backpack radio that he has. Oh, man. Okay. God. I know. There's a lot going on.
So much.
Bobby's absorbing all of this as the moments, like as the mortars are falling and we're trying to basically stay alive.
Yeah, you at least now, like, you're starting to run, and at least you have a second to maybe think, but like, you still kind of feel like you're under fire. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine Bobby's just trying to put things together, but like already at fear for his life because the bombs are real, the setting feels real, but he just left that whole cosmic horror that we were in at Dorchester House, and now it's a whole different. I mean, I don't know that he has a full memory of the transition from the Dorchester House into the real world into this coma. I think he's kind of just putting everything together and like searching his mind. Like I remember the mission, the Delta Green mission. I remember the Dorchester, that last few moments of the Dorchester watching that play, and I remember pain. As he comes out of it, and he believes he remembers coming out of it and coming to that house, but it's still very blurry. But he can't really piece it all together now as everything is happening. All these bombs are going off. He's just seen his father. And he's just trying to piece together what the hell he was talking about.
Okay, so as he's piecing all this together, you hear the snap, the crack, slap of a bullet going right past your head, and your immediate instinct is to dive for cover. And you see several of your companions are doing the same. Boom! Up against walls, behind, like a dumpster, behind broken down vehicle. It's a real war-torn street. Lots of cover, lots of smoke and haze and dust in the air. Bullets are flying, and you know that someone saw you and targeted you, and that's how close that bullet came. You could hear the crack in the air right by your head. What do you do?
Jeez, I found cover, or am I just out in the ground? Like,
you're out in the open right now. What do you? Okay. You see cover there? Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna go take cover. I'm gonna run.
You dive into the cover, and all of a sudden you look down, and you're holding an M1 Garand rifle.
Okay.
A semi-automatic World War II rifle is in your hands, and you ting above your head. These gunshots come.
Shit. Okay. Is it loaded? Is it cocked? Is it ready to roll?
It's cocked, rocked, and ready to rock.
Okay. he's gonna try and just fire on the position. He's not even gonna like pop his head out. He's just gonna try and fire on wherever they.
Yeah. He just puts it over and starts firing blind. Yeah. All right. Give me
I will just some insight here as someone who has fired an M1 Garand.
Oh God. Okay.
I don't think you can do that.
Okay. All right.
You can't hold it up over your head like this. Like I almost.
It's long.
It's long, like a rifle.
It's like the amount of recoil is so insane. They were just like, be sure to like hold it flush up against your shoulder, like as you're firing, or you will break your.
Okay, so I need to
collarbone.
Well, hey, why not? Why not, dude? Just put it up there.
You can try.
Put it up there and pull the trigger, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking he's so full of fear.
If any one of us were to do it, our arms would fly out of our sockets.
Oh, I mean. Yeah, well.
I think Joe wants you to die.
Hey, man. I'm just saying, I don't see why you can't put it up there.
Yeah, I mean, I just think in the moment.
And just, boom! And it just rips down away from you and like comes screaming back down to the ground. You manage to hold onto it with one hand, but you're shocked at the recoil of this weapon. And you know that you're going to have to brace it and aim down sight if you're, going to be relevant to anything or hit anything.
Okay.
At that moment, you and you look across and you get a strange look from a young man across the street from you who sees the way you just fired the weapon. His weapon is holstered right up against his shoulder. He's aiming down sight. And it's Roger Comstone. You recognize him again. A young Roger Comstone. Roger, you look down sight and you see through this like haze, but you think you have a good position. Nobody's quite hitting you just now or targeting in on you. And as the sight from your weapon is hazing over this distant blockade that seems to be up, you see the outlined form of a few soldiers in the distance, and then a rare crack or flash of a muzzle of gunfire coming, and you see some hazy targets in the distance. You have control of this, Troy. This is Roger Comstone. What do you do?
What uniform were the people wearing? Was it the uniform of the enemy?
You don't see their uniform.
I fire. No.
Yeah, they're hazy. They're like shadowed. They're firing at you. Maybe not at you personally, but at your team right now.
Do I have a radio?
You do not.
So I just see how many people? 3?
Yeah, like they're moving in and out. You don't know how many exactly.
All right, I've got to get
probably 100 yards away. Pretty distant. Pretty far distant.
Can I look through my scope and see if I see anything? I just don't want to fire at these people if I don't know who they are.
Gotcha. All right, so you're just scouting right now.
Yeah.
You see what looks like the heads seem to come up, and instead of rounding out, they come up into like a flat square at the top.
Okay, that's not good.
Like they're not human?
That's not good. That looks bad.
Can I?
They seem human, but it could be like a weird helmet or something.
Okay, I want to try and close the distance a little bit, but maintain my cover, so I could just maybe like crawl to another location.
Okay, give me a stealth.
I think that's a fail, or it's going to be pretty damn close. It's a fail. 87 over 77.
87 over 77. Okay. In that moment, as you start crawling to the next line of cover, somebody zeroes in on you and critically fumbles. But the gunshot goes out. Bang, boom! And this brick wall just to your right, boom! And it shatters with an explosion of a bullet hitting it, and some of the dust comes down over your helmet and into your head. You are in World War II fatigues with World War II weaponry. As far as you're concerned in your mind right now, you are in World War II, and this is totally normal. You don't remember how you got here, but this is very normal.
Okay. I'm going to use that missed shot to really make my way within 50 yards.
You see Roger come up and get clear up 50 yards closer. What are you doing, Bobby?
So can I see the people who are shooting at us? Or they're shooting at both.
Well, you're not looking. You're hunkered down. You haven't even looked over the cover yet.
I want to pop up and
scared?
see. Yes, I'm scared shitless. I'm going to pop up and try and get a beat on where these guys are shooting from. See if I can maybe get a shot off if possible.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
You look up, you aim. Looks like their attention is turned to Roger for the moment. There's also a couple other guys that are up in front of you that are on your side that are getting shot at. You're not currently getting shot at, but you do see the same targets in the distance that Roger saw. They're pretty far out, though. Roger got closer. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm going to try and get closer as well if I can get a shot off. Can I shoot him from where I'm at now?
You can, at a minus 20, yeah.
At a minus 20? No, let me get closer because I don't think I have any. Yeah, my
not so good with firearms. Okay,
yeah.
Give me a stealth check.
Oh Lord!
As you try to wait for a good time to run out, maybe when they're focused on something else.
Cool. 42 over 36.
42 over 36. Not quite. You don't pick exactly the right time, and I miss again. Not a fumble that time. But you feel that somebody is targeted on you and shot. However, you manage to reach up to where Roger Comstone is. Roger, you recognize Bobby as Bobby.
I shoot him.
And immediately kill him on the spot.
Roger.
He comes up behind you and boom, goes up against this wall. All of a sudden, you hear the colonel from a little ways behind you, and he's just like, "Corporal!" And you know that you're a corporal, Bobby. And he's just like, Corporal, take those 3, flank them on the left, flank them on the left. And you turn to the left and you see where there wasn't before, there is this alley that has opened up to the left that would clear you out of gunfire, and maybe there's a path around to get behind these guys. In that same moment, you hear the telltale scream in the air of a mortar.
I book for that alley.
And he called Roger Comstone, Private Lavallee, and another guy to follow with you. So all of a sudden, Roger, you've been ordered to get up and follow Bobby through this alleyway to outflank these guys. And then, boom! This mortar hits not exactly where you were. It's a little off target, but they seem to be zeroing in. And the Colonel wants you to get around, flank, and take them out. You guys start moving across and through. Bobby, you come out of this alleyway on another street. There's no roadblock there, and seems to be no soldiers. And now if you turn toward where they were going before, you could probably go past them.
Okay, yeah, that's what I do. We like, come on.
All right, so the 4 of you, Lavallee has this big backpack. Roger's following along as well. You all have these rifles, when all of a sudden, a guy comes whipping around the corner, and he's standing there, shocked to see you. You see a human in full black fatigues, I guess you could say.
Viet Cong.
And
wrong war.
And he's wearing a fez. He's wearing a red fez, and he sees you, and he just starts like shouting at you in another language. And he pulls up this rifle to fire at you.
Oh, I pull my M1 and I blast this motherfucker.
You're gonna blast him?
Yeah, he's got his gun out. I don't know who this is.
Roger,
I've already put 3 bullets in him before Bobby pulled this gun. The minute I saw that hat, I fired.
That hat shouldn't be here.
Okay, so Roger, I'm not even going to make you roll. It's kind of point blank, and you have the advantage here. You bow, and you hit this guy, and he just goes down, and he's just laying on the ground. Bobby, as you step up and over him, you notice that he has
one more shot.
He was about to say something, blood coming from his mouth.
Blood splatters all over my face.
Let me explain everything.
And just like, Roger puts 1 bullet into his head, killing him. Bobby, you look down. Roger, you look down and notice his rifle does not look like yours. In fact, it looks rather old. Give me, Roger, you have military science land, don't you?
You bet your ass I do.
Was he like a janissary or something?
I thought you were gonna say a janitor.
Crap.
He's just a janitor.
I went to kill a janitor.
He's cleaning up the dead body.
He was helping.
Sorry, buddy. 81/60 for military science land.
Okay, what about history? Do you have that, Francis? Do you have any history,
History,
as a
yes, I do.
CIA
actually,
analyst?
I have a pretty solid history. 67/50. Damn it.
Damn it. All right, you guys look down and you see this long bolt-action rifle with strange writing on the side of it, but no other details at this time. And you know that you're close to now outflanking this crew.
Okay. I didn't understand the language he was speaking. Can I read the whatever's written on his gun?
Nope, it is a language you do not recognize.
Ah, damn it. All right. Let's keep moving.
Okay. You come around the corner and you look down this alley, and here you are in a position to actually make this move. You see 2 guys and they don't see you. You see their profile. They're firing down the alleyway at your men right now. Behind them are 2 guys working a mortar. And behind them is a guy on a fucking horse. With this rifle up in the air, and he's trying to like calm the horse down, and it's like clacking on the street, and this guy is yelling in this language you don't understand at them, seemingly commanding them.
Okay, all right, and I've got myself, I've got Comstone and 2 other guys. Is that what
Yourself,
the deal?
Comstone, and 2 other guys. You seem to have the initiative right now. They don't see you.
Okay, I go to Comstone. Comstone, you take out the 2, like Comstone and one of the guys take out the 2 guys shooting, and then the other 2, me and the other guy will take out the 2 guys on the mortar.
Okay.
Right, and we'll do it simultaneously.
Okay.
So we just take them all out 1 go. Ready? All right. Let's fucking do it.
Okay.
Move out.
You
We
come
gotta roll
around
for
the
this.
corner. You start walking a little bit closer to get slightly better shot without them noticing you, but you're far enough away that it's not going to be obvious. They're so focused on the other squad. Time to take your shots. Roger, give me a shot at one of the guys that is up against the barricade.
Okay.
What are we rolling?
I can't crawl up and stab him in the neck instead.
Yeah, I mean, can we roll? Because if that's an option, I'm saying if we can creep up that close.
Probably not. I mean, you're probably
not.
50 yards away
My
right now.
firearms
and-
is better. It's just cooler to stab a guy.
My firearms.
Japers, 87 over 80.
Holy
I think I rolled 3 87s. Is what it feels like.
Dude, I rolled another 77. That's what I rolled the first time. And so
Wow.
one private and Roger that shot at the two in the front both missed. And now they're aware of them. Bobby, what's your shot? And then I'm going to roll
Dream
for Loveless.
Roger doesn't die.
Me and the other guy are going for the two guys on the mortar.
Yeah, I know. So roll your shot.
Ooh, 10 under 40 for firearms.
10 under 45. Blah! You hit one guy off of the mortar. My other guy rolled a 49 under 50 and hit the other guy at the mortar. All of a sudden, two guys are down, two guys are up. They turn to shoot at you. This officer turns. You see it noticing you on horseback. The two that were at the front turn and they go to bolt action their rifles to reload them to fire at you, and this takes them a whole round.
Fuck yes.
Your M1 automatically reloads as you pull the trigger. You get another shot, all four of you, at the two that are up at the barricade.
We're going to blast these motherfuckers.
Roger, give me another shot.
All right.
Just rolled an 80, so Loveless missed.
Okay.
The other guy, 50 on 50, so he hit.
19 under 80.
I got 31 under 40.
Before they can get their shitty old rifles to fire, you guys, blah, blah! You guys take them out, and suddenly this captain, commander, whatever, officer turns, looks at you, and screams and hits his horse and starts charging at you and pulls up this bolt action rifle, points it at you, and fires, Bobby, as he's charging down the alley with this gun. And he rolls a 5. A 5. Holy shit, dude.
Shit.
So, minimum damage. You take 2 points of damage as it grazes the side of your arm. Blah! So whatever damage you had initially for whatever, like erase that and go to your full HP.
Okay. I was going to say, because I had 2 hit points before.
Right. So you start this at your full HP, and blah! You take a shot, and now he is charging at you. You can get 1 shot off, you and Roger, but your shot will be at -20. You just got hit. Roger.
75 under 80, just by the skin of my ween.
Shit,
Wow, man.
27 under, so -20 for firearms, right?
Yeah. That's going to be close.
That's it's a fail. 27 over 20.
Oh, because you're 40
at 40.
firearms. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Roger, I need a luck roll because yours was. Oh no, actually no. I'm sorry.
Mine's closer, right? 75.
Yeah, yours was actually great. So you hit the guy on top of the horse, and he falls off the side of the horse, collapses to the ground, and the gunfire seems to calm down. Your guys are not shooting; they don't see any targets. The 4 guys that were back in the end, 2 of them look dead, 2 of them look like they're about to die. This captain, boom, 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 hits the ground, and he just, and he's laying there and he's grabbing at his chest where Roger hit him, center mass. Blood is pooling up through his fingers, and he's just like, nitty-gritty.
Roger walks
whispering.
up, puts the muzzle of his gun in the wound. Who are you? Just twists it. I don't know what you're saying.
Do we have any of the corporal or any of the guys we're with can translate? No.
No, nobody that you're with can translate. Although I guess Private Loveless could say like, "Hey, Bobby, I've heard this before. I've heard this over the radio before. This language. We've intercepted some communications. No one's analyzed it though.
What is it? Okay.
It's the Black Wind. It's the Black Wind.
Black Wind. All right. search him. We'll search him for any kind of info or notes or like a code breaking, anything.
Yeah. Okay. So you start like grabbing at his uniform, checking in his pockets. You pull out, you see there's a picture of a woman, a young woman. And you put that aside. You keep going through his pockets, and you find some like gold and silver plated like coins that you do not recognize any of the language or shapes or on them. I mean, you can recognize like the shape of a person, but you don't recognize the person. And so it seems to be a currency that you are unfamiliar with.
All right, I'll pocket that. What else? What else you got? Nitty gritty. What is it? What is that? Where are your people?
And his eyes go wide, and he just like looks up at the sky, a little gurgle, and breathes his last.
God damn it!
All right. And it lingers in your mind for a moment. You're safe. And we'll fade out from there. Actually, no, we won't fade out from there. We'll do just like a quick cut to Roger, you waking up. Waking up from a weird dream.
Nitty gritty.
Nitty gritty.
The fuck is nitty gritty?
Gritty.
You wake up from a strange dream where you were in World War II with Bobby. And you were fighting some guys in fezzes and you're left with this word lingering in your mind, nitty-gritty.
They sound like Ottoman Turks or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Thinking of Nito
World War
Kreese, the pharaoh. Or, I'm reading too much Cthulhu, but that's the only thing I think is Nito Kreese. Roger goes over to the bathroom and goes to pee, but his morning erection shoots the pee at the mirror above his sink.
We're back, folks.
I just wanted to have that scene.
We're back to a comedy film.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Get that down. This is an Airbnb. There's piss everywhere.
He doesn't clean anything.
Nitty gritty. It was weird. It felt like Bobby was in the dream. It wasn't just Bobby in the dream. It was Bobby in the dream.
Mm-hmm. And let's just say you're dealing with this massive erection. And we'll cut away from there.
Why does it hurt?
It's going to take some time.
And check in the Ritz, where we see sunlight is coming through the windows. Vicky, you open your eyes in bed, and you are fully clothed, exactly how you laid down on top of the covers. You passed the hell out. The night has passed, and the sun has risen. Neil, did you ever come out and go to sleep, or did you fall asleep in the bathroom? Like, what happened to you?
No, he's still in the shower.
He's still all night long.
Yep.
8 hours, 9 hours.
Yeah, you still hear it going.
Wow. Okay, so Vicky, you get up and you hear the shower going.
Okay. Yeah, she fully clothed, like just laying on the bed, a little bit sweaty. She's just been like laying there in the sun. She's like going to get a glass of water from the bathroom and realizes that the shower is still on. And then she gets a little worried, thinking like he could have drowned or something. Like, I don't know. She just starts to think like, what if he'd like slipped and fell, or I don't know. So she goes to try to open the door. Did you lock the door, Skid? No. Okay. So she opens the bathroom door.
And what does she see, Skid?
He's in the shower. Like he's just like standing there, like looking up with the water hitting him in the face. Shower curtain or the door like is not closed. It's just like this water like splashed absolutely everywhere, and he's totally naked, standing there, just looking up at the water.
Neil?
And he's still hurt too. Like he's still pretty badly injured.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
As she calls your name and you turn, you don't notice any pain in your hip at all. Like as that drugs wore off and should have created a lot of pain, you don't feel any pain. You don't feel any swelling. You kind of feel great.
All right. Yeah, so he turns, smiles at her without an ounce of shame, and steps out, turns off the water, steps out, grabs his like underpants, like sits down in the toilet, pulls them on, and gets up, puts on his shirt, and starts just like looking around the hotel room like a new man, just like sort of gathering up his things, sort of like getting dressed. And he says, the labyrinth. We go. And he goes for the door. And what floor was in when we were in the hotel last time? Like, what floor did we find the labyrinth on?
I'm sorry.
In the night floors?
You mean the night floors?
Yeah, the night floors.
Oh, you mean what floor did you open up and it was the night floors? That was the third floor of the McAllister building.
Yeah. So he's gonna go down, gonna go out of the room and go for the stairs and like
Neil.
So he just starts leaving.
Neil.
Yeah.
Neil.
Naked?
And
No, he
He's got his
Put
clothes
clothes
on.
He put
Vicky-
tighty whities on before he walked out, Roger. He's not a lunatic.
Did he wake up
Over
with
his
an
pants.
erection as well?
He didn't go to sleep. I'm sure he
Stood in
would
the
if he
shower all
had
night.
one.
Yeah.
Vicky is going to turn back in the hotel room to like get her phone and her and then she's like, I don't have a phone
Right.
because
Roger just
He just
Roger
crushed it
fucking broke it.
before he asked for money.
Psychopath. So she grabs her bag, her like tote bag, and looks around, like grabs the room key or whatever is out, and that's all that's really in there. So
Yeah.
she then runs out after Neil, and she's kind of just like, Neil, hold on. She's like slipping her shoe on her high heel. Neil, stop. Neil, stop. Where are you going? You have to go to a hospital. Neil, come here. Let me look at you.
Labyrinth. Hospital, no. Fine feeling. Labyrinth. Come.
And you can
Time
tell the
is
way
now.
he's walking, he's not limping like he was yesterday.
And am I still when I leave the room, am I still seeing Hotel Broad Alban ambiance? Or
Yeah,
okay.
like it's kind of strange. Like you kind of remember the carpet from the Ritz-Carlton as you're walking along the hallway. But as you turn and look at the rooms, a strange memory flashes into your head. You turn and look at the rooms, and the room numbers that are on each room I'm trying to just think the word that I want to use here, like it's partially the font, but it's just the design of the metal plates that are screwed into each door that have the room number on them look identical to the gold and silver inlaid plates of the safe deposit boxes that you went to when you were in New York City. Like you have this weird memory from 20 years ago of walking into that safety deposit box and seeing all those numbers, and like that's what the room numbers look like. Like they're gilded metal work room numbers, and they look like they could be in a bank vault, you know?
Yeah. So that, I think that sparks this sort of sense memory of the crown and that proximity to that kind of power again. Throw that in the stew.
Yep.
He's gonna go looking room to room, and he's gonna try to find. He wants to get to the third floor as his best sort of guess as to where to start.
Okay.
And Vicky is looking at Neil and realizing, like, okay, I guess he's okay. Very confused because he couldn't walk yesterday and Roger had to carry him. And she's gonna go to reach for her phone in her bag again because she's gonna call Christopher. She's like digging through her bag as she's walking behind Neil and looking and starts like pulling stuff out of her bag and like holding it. She's like, where the fuck is... And she's like dumping out her bag into the hallway and looking around. And then she's like, where's my phone? where is my phone? And she like puts the stuff back in the bag, and she's like, Neil, I don't understand where you're going, but we can't split up. You can't just leave the hotel.
Upkeep.
Fuck me. And she just stuffs the stuff back in the bag, and she's gonna follow Neil just to like kind of placate him to see what he wants to do, because he's clearly not mentally stable. And then she's gonna hope that he, tries to leave the hotel and she can talk to the front desk person or something and borrow the phone.
Like a hunting dog.
Yes.
Just gonna follow him.
Neil is leading.
Yeah. So we see Vicky following behind Neil. Neil, you would go to an elevator probably to get to the third floor. You're not currently on the third floor. So you can make your way to an elevator. Okay, you go to an elevator, hit the button, open it up, and there's a man on a stool, an elevator man, sitting just inside, kind of working the elevator. He says, "Good morning, Dr. Bachman." And he's kind of like old man, wiry. He has a little bellhop cap on and a little black red bellhop suit with black trim. And, good morning, Dr. Bachman.
Morning of the top, you too. And he looks at Vicky and he says, essence is of the time.
Heading out today, are we, Dr. Bachman?
Do I see this man? Does Vicky see anybody?
No.
God damn it!
Heading out today, Dr. Bachman?
Down and through, man young. Down and through.
Vicky gets into the elevator. Neil, just press the lobby.
And like, before he reaches out or anything, you just see like, boop, the lobby light goes on. And Neil is talking to the buttons, basically. And the lobby light goes on and the doors close. Give me a sanity check, Sydney.
Me or Vicky?
Vicky, I'm sorry. A bit of both.
Let's see. Oh, 34 under, what is my current? 56.
44 under 56. Okay, no sanity lost from that.
Solid.
You just like think something's wrong with Neil.
Something's wrong with this elevator. Weird.
Yeah, the elevator starts making its way down to the lobby. Boom, hits the lobby. Ding. The door's open. He turns to you, just simply says, "Enjoy your day, Dr. Bachman." And you know this guy's name is Charlie. You remember Charlie. But you don't know how. It's like this vague memory.
Day good you too, Charles.
Okay, Neil, let's go. Please stop talking. We'll just walk outside. We'll just keep walking. Just go straight.
You walk out into the lobby, and there behind the counter is Elmer, your buddy, receptionist. Black hair, slicked back, parted at the side. "Good morning, Dr. Bachman."
See of the man, Elmer.
And Vicky's going to approach the guy at the counter.
And he sort of summons you over. And you see this receptionist. It's a different guy. It's this guy is like, he's got longish hair and a mustache. And he's standing behind the counter and he is beckoning Dr. Bachman over. He just called him Dr. Bachman. Dr. Bachman beckoned him over. If our audience was watching, the two men look completely different. One is wearing old school shit with a slicked back, greased hair. This guy has like long, shaggy hair and a mustache. And he's summoning Dr. Bachman over.
Vicky walks up behind him as well, following, because there's a real man who's waving them over. So she walks over.
Dr. Bachman, I apologize for my rudeness last night when you asked to see Mr. Lintz. I was sure you knew. I didn't want to speak out of turn, You're hearing all this, Vicky. This guy is saying all of this to Neil, and you can hear it. He's like, Mr. Lintz has gone below and not returned. To the labyrinth, of course. Yes.
So I suspect. Labyrinth we go to. Must follow.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, it's unreachable here. You must enter through room 3033. And, as you well know, Dr. Bachman, there is no room 3033 here in the Broad Alban in Boston. You'll need to go to our New York hotel. From there, you can reach room 3033. Ask for Mr. Lintz and the way to the labyrinth. Many have tried, Dr. Bachman, but few have succeeded.
Not worried, I. You thank Elmer. Bring horses, please.
This guy leans up and he looks at you, Vicky, and he's just like, "Hi, can I help you?"
And I just heard him say,
Yeah, he
all
just
that.
said all this stuff. And he just shakes his head for a second and he kind of rubs an eye. And he's just like, I'm sorry. I'm very tired. I was out too late last night. What did you say?
No, what did you just say?
I didn't say anything. I apologize. I just saw you come down. And is there anything that I can do for you?
No, you don't talk to him like that.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
He's sick.
This gentleman here? Referring
And
to
she's
Neil.
like-
Neil, if you've turned away for even like a half a second and turned back, Elmer's not there. You just see this guy and dressed in the uniform of the Ritz, and he's just standing there talking to Vicky, like looking totally surprised and has no idea what she's talking about. I'm sorry if there was some misunderstanding, ma'am. I apologize. I nodded off there for a moment, but I didn't. Did I say something? Was I talking?
Vicky kind of flushes, and she like kind of looks down. My phone is missing. I think someone might have stolen it from the hotel.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Did you leave it in your room?
Yes, it was in my room. In Dr. Bachman's room. It's
Okay.
somebody might have come into the room.
Clackety, clack, 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 clack.
I fell asleep. It's an Android phone. Did anyone call? I had called.
Click, click, click. She says, for Dr. Bachman? No, I don't have any calls for Dr. Bachman, no.
What time is it?
I'm trying to see when your room was turned over yesterday, and we will certainly ask our lost and found if they've come across your phone. You said it's an Android. What color? And he goes into these details of,
she tells
like
him.
filling out a form, basically.
He's leaving.
Neil has just started walking
out the front door.
She's like watching Neil walk away. And no one's called for the room. She's kind of backing up. No one's called for the room?
No one's called for the room.
And if they do,
Not to my knowledge.
okay, I will have to come back then because I don't have a fucking phone. So how would you contact me?
Well, if they called Dr. Bachman, I could ask for a message. I could take a message.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, ma'am. Have a nice day. All right,
Gonna leave
let's go
and
in
follow
on
me.
Roger. Roger, you're in your own Airbnb in Boston, a little bit across town from the Ritz. What is he doing first thing in the morning?
Do you want me in the apartment, or you want me to have already got out of the apartment?
Don't care.
Okay, we'll
You
see.
mean the Airbnb, like where
The
you were
Airbnb,
staying?
yeah. So-
I don't care where you go.
We see the exterior of a Dunkin' Donuts, and Roger is coming out with a extra large styrofoam cup, and he walks a couple blocks down Mass Ave and just leans the cup on top of a trash can and pulls out a nip of like Johnny Walker Red, pours it into the coffee. and then looks for a place to like throw it and just throws it on the doorstep of the apartment building. And then kind of swirls the cup around, lights up a cigarette, and starts
Starting
walking.
early.
Yeah.
Breakfast of champions.
And he just starts walking with a cigarette. And he gets to the entrance to the public gardens. And he's like, I want to see some flowers. And he starts walking through the public gardens, just drinking his scotch and coffee. And
Sounds like a nice little
just kind of walking through and talking to himself. And he's trying to decide what to do today. So he kind of keeps walking through the park over in the direction of the Four Seasons, right? Isn't that where they are?
The Ritz.
The Ritz, yeah.
The Ritz, rather, yeah.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah, so
Rich
he
guy
walks,
hotel.
kind of walks over so that he can see like the lobby of the Ritz and, you know, like the front door. And he's just kind of watching like a weirdo. Drinking his coffee and smoking, just chain smoking. From time to time, he'll be like, what are you looking at?
You
He's
notice
just watching.
a couple people like giving you double takes. Yeah, people are like looking at you twice. And you kind of snap at them. What are you looking at?
Roger's going to
And-
walk towards like a newsstand.
Okay. Out near the park, you walk up near a newsstand, and yeah, we'll say that it's the guy working behind it. There's newspapers and lots of like candy and snacks everywhere and stuff like that. And you hear like or you see kind of in the back of this newsstand is like an old school like antenna TV. Like an old school tube television that's grabbing an antenna signal, and it's just the news, and going through news of the day, and you walk up to the cart. A guy standing behind it. Morning.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing? And he's like still kind of like
Fine.
he's still cleaning something up.
Can I get do you have Parliament lights?
Parliament lights. Yeah, we got Parliament. 1 second. And he like bends down, pulls out a box, pulls up this carton, opens it up,
And
pulls out a pack.
While he's doing that, he just wants to look at today's date on the newspaper, like the nearest Boston Globe or Herald.
Yeah, you look down, Boston Globe, you see it says September 20th, 2015.
What's the headline of the day?
Headline of the day. Headline of the day. It's a good one. I have no idea. I don't follow news. And I don't know
September
what's going on.
20th, what year?
September 20th,
Was that the big dig finish?
2015. The big dig finishes.
Big dig finish.
10 things about September 20th, 2015. Pope Francis urges U.S. Cuba to further normalize relations. Donald Trump says, I love the Muslims.
There's no way. Does it actually?
The slammer on the Boston Globe says he loves the Muslims. And then underneath it says Donald Trump attributes his or discusses his deep love of Islam. Yeah, you're kind of you're loosely looking at this paper. The guy pulls out the pack and just like, there's your bottle, and sets the pack down.
I'm sorry.
That'll be $4.57. Wait, no, it's got to be more than that. $8.95.
Make
I'll
up
just
your
make it
mind.
$9.
Make up your mind. How much is these cigarettes?
I just started here.
It's a
It's
negotiation.
my first day.
Sorry.
First day.
Did
I'll
you
give you $5.
Did you say here's my bottle?
Yeah, your bottle. You wanted the Parliament, the bottle.
Is that what they call it here? Bottles.
I don't know what you're talking about, but $9. I'm glad you found it. He's kind of like smiling, like as you're handing the money over.
He hands on the money, kind of absentmindedly, not breaking eye contact.
He takes it, he breaks eye contact, puts it in the drawer, pulls out your dollar change, hands it back to you. And as he hands it back to you, he sort of just like eases over like onto a stool. And as his head comes past the TV, you look up and, this like thin audio broadcast is coming through this crappy TV with washed out color. And you see Dr. Dallin standing on the steps of the Dorchester house, surrounded by police officers, flanked by police officers on both sides, standing in front of a bunch of microphones, discussing escaped mental patients that are on the run and armed and dangerous in Boston. And then your four faces come up on the screen in front of you. And they are you look at this thing and you see Bobby, and you see Neil. And where Vicky should be, it says Vicky Ricci under her name, and someone else that is not Vicky. However, almost Vicky. Like, you know Vicky so well that you can tell that it's not Vicky. It's so obvious to you, but it's almost as if Vicky has like a sister or something. Not a twin sister, but like it's just not Vicky. But in terms of hair color, eye color, like kind of size of her face or whatever, like it all is similar, but it's just simply not Vicky. But it says Vicky Ricci. It has your actual name, Roger M. Comstone. Dr. Neil Bachman has all your names right under it and says that you are escaped mental patients. And the pictures, you're like, immediately your mind is just going through like, what is this picture? Because it is a picture of you that is completely like emotionless, flat-faced, just kind of like staring at the camera. And it's so hard to see because there's such a little like screen, but just at the bottom of the cutout of where your face is, you see what looks like the top of a bottle that it seems like you might be holding, and you're staring dead-faced into the camera. You notice that on all four pictures, everybody is holding a bottle. Give me a sanity check.
That's going to be a critical failure. 77 over 62.
That's our third 77 of the app.
What does that mean?
It means you're going to take some sanity damage that I have to roll right after this break. We'll be right back. No. Shit's going down in the city of Boston. Hang in there. We'll be right back. We're back, and Roger Comstone's with a giant spiked coffee steps up to this newsstand where a gentleman hands him a box of parliaments and calls it a bottle, then sits down in a stool, and quickly, Roger, you look over his shoulder, and just like in a movie from the 90s, you see this major plot point occur just behind him on a newscast from an antenna feed, scratchy lines kind of coming through everything. And at that point, he kind of like leans back in his chair, and he's just kind of looking down at a magazine, and he's just like not turned around. What do you do?
Roger will just say thanks. And
he looks up and he just goes, Nitty Kreti, and looks back down again. You swear he said nitty kreti to you.
Roger starts to walk away. I want to do an awareness check. Are there cameras in this portion of the park?
What are you going to do? Kill this guy?
Yeah, kill him.
Get answers first.
52 under 84 alertness.
Cameras. There's cameras on the street poles. You can see them, traffic cameras. that also could easily pick you up. At that moment, your awareness also, with your awareness, you look out of the side of your eye and you see the door to the Ritz-Carlton opening up and Neil walking out of it.
Fuck. Roger will drop he'll start walking towards the Ritz, and the nearest trash can he sees, he throws his coffee in, takes his cigarette, puts it out. If he has any type of hood, he puts it up over and just kind of...
Give me a roll.
Okay.
What do you want, a luck roll? A wardrobe roll?
Stealth. Nailed it. 41 under 77 stealth.
You do have a hoodie. What's on the hoodie? Is it just a plain sweat hoodie, or does it have a logo of a brewery on it?
His hoodie is, it says FBI.
Female body inspector.
Female body inspector.
It's a Times Square hoodie, like that you bought it at a paint shop in Times Square.
It is a nondescript heathered black hoodie.
Okay, nondescript heathered black hoodie, and boom, the hood goes up. Dun, 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 dun. And he starts moving across, trying to hide his face from the cameras. Give me a luck roll.
53.
53. You are concerned that you looked directly at a camera, and it totally could have caught you if anybody's watching right now.
He just keeps moving. He knows that this will take time to triangulate his location. He just keeps moving towards the Ritz. Do I just see Neil like walking down the street?
Yeah. No, so now, Neil, where were you intending to walk when you stepped out the front door?
To Logan.
To Logan. Okay. So were you going to get a cab?
Yeah, I was gonna get like a horse-drawn carriage to take us to the airport.
You see Neil walk out and start talking to a guy that's got a horse-drawn carriage.
I'm talking to the horse.
He's talking to the horse. You see a guy climbing down off the carriage to try to pitch this guy on like a lover's jaunt around Boston in the early morning. And as Vicky walks up, he's like, it seems to you, Roger, that like he's pitching the two of them on like taking a ride.
So I see Vicky.
You see Vicky too. She walked out behind Neil. They're kind of like chasing after him almost, walking somewhat quickly.
He walks over, he sees Neil, walks past Neil to Vicky, and he says,
"Hey, would you like to take a ride?"
No, we don't want to take a ride.
Oh, it's a beautiful early morning in Boston. You take a ride, you see the sunrise.
We are not interested in taking a ride. I'm simply trying to get my friend to come back.
Your wife seemed like she does not like a ride, but I think you like one, my friend.
"We don't want to ride." And he grabs Neil and Vicky and like forcibly pulls them towards an alleyway.
They duck into an alley.
"We've been made. We're all over the news.
What are you talking about?
We're wanted. They think
what?
They think we're escaped mental patients.
Oh.
We have been made, and we need to go into hiding."
I lost my phone. I need to call Christopher. I need to call Christopher right now.
I broke your phone.
You broke my phone?
Yes. We got into a fight. You said some hurtful things. And I took it out on your phone because I would never hit a woman.
Class act. Roger comes through.
That does sound right.
Pillar of chivalry. Roger comes through.
You don't remember me not hitting you?
I think I would have remembered that. You broke my... When did you break my phone?
Do you not remember this? I had an outburst after some harsh things you said, and I grabbed your phone and I snapped it in two like a baby crane's neck.
I need my phone, Roger. I need to call Christopher. I have to tell him what's going on.
And does Roger realize that something's wrong with Vicky?
Yeah.
Roger's looking around for a car that is parked in a not obvious location. Like, I'm not going to break into a car on Dartmouth Ave.
You look down this alley and you see that there's like another alley that then goes like behind like the hotels and restaurants and stuff like that. Bunch of dumpsters. Maybe somebody parked a car back there. Like, you could go look.
Come on.
Start moving through the alley, moving to this other alley where the the back of these restaurants are, back of the hotel, etc. And you see there are several cars parked along this thing.
Okay.
Just kind of wedged up against the brick walls, up against the curbs. Soon as you get into this alleyway, you hear gunfire. Bop, 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 bop. And the sound of explosions, and you swear you see in the distance behind one of the dumpsters a guy with a fez and like a gun, like kind of like peeking out at you. And it's gone. You shake your head, and it's gone.
Anyone else here?
I'm sorry, anyone else here? No, you don't see any other people walking back there right now.
All right, let's hotwire one of these cars.
Okay. Give me a check. Any of the three of you, does anybody have any ability to hotwire a car?
I mean, I don't know what the requisite skill would be. Demolitions, criminology, computer science, bureaucracy, artillery.
I have drive.
There you go.
Navigate isn't quite right.
It could be computer? No.
It could definitely be computers. You could, but computer science is a little different, but whatever. We could make a stretch.
Does anybody
and
have locksmith?
Change the DC.
Locksmith, does that do it? No.
But yeah, I mean, mechanics would be something. Engineering, mechanics.
Well, all right. So then, if Roger would know he can't hotwire one. I don't have the requisite skill. So, is there a key box nearby, or is this like a public parking lot where people park and take their
This
keys
isn't a parking lot. Yeah, this is just like a place where people that own these businesses and stuff can kind of like side park in the alley. There's only a few spots, and they're reserved for the businesses. So it's kind of like business owners or employees that are parked back there. And it's not a lot by any stretch.
Business owners or employees. Okay, what type of businesses are nearby?
You see a restaurant, and you see, like, while you're standing back there, you see a man in like a chef's uniform come out of the back of a restaurant, and he just sort of starts like fiddling with his keys at the side of a car about 25 yards down, 20 meters. I should be using meters. We're playing Delta Green. And so a little bit down the alleyway.
And is he facing me or back to me?
No, he's back to you. He turned away from you, walked up to his car, and now he's starting to put the key into his... actually, no, I'm sorry. 2015, he's got like a fob.
All right, so...
he walks up, he pulls out, he hits a button, and it's like, boop, boop.
All right, so Roger just takes a deep breath and just starts walking, and as he's walking, he pulls out his gun.
Oh, dude.
And he walks right up to the guy and puts...
The guy opens up the car door, click, puts the fob back in his pocket.
Without the guy seeing his face, he puts the base of the gun at the right on the guy's spine.
Yo, what the fuck? What the fuck?
He says,
I don't got any money. I don't got any money.
Quiet. I don't want your money, but I'm taking your car.
No, man, no, I need my car.
I will return it someday. It may be Christmas morning.
He starts like turn his head around to like get a look at you.
Don't look, or you will never walk again.
Fuck.
And then you won't have need of this car that I will one day return to you, because your legs won't work.
What are Vicky and Neil doing? You're coming up behind Roger at this point. What are you doing?
I am shocked. I am like shocked, and I don't really know how to react, but also Roger's gone too far. Vicky can't step in right now, especially if they're made. Like, she doesn't know. She hasn't seen the TV, but she believes Roger. She's staying back, hiding her face a little bit. Like,
Neil thinks this guy might need the car more if he can't walk anymore.
He grabs the fob, pops the trunk, pushes the guy around and says, "Get in the trunk," and throws the guy in the trunk.
No. And then poo.
And he bangs on it with his back of his fist or the back of the gun, says, "Quiet, quiet, or this will be the last trunk you ever get in."
This will be the last trunk you ever grace.
I swear to God, it'll be the last trunk you ever get thrown in.
And then he just waves Vicky and Neil.
I come over.
Where do you want to?
Neil's taking this all in stride.
Where do you want to go, Neil?
York New, please.
All right.
New.
You got it. Come on.
Vicky says, "What are you doing?
Saving your life.
You are kidnapping a civilian. What the fuck are you doing?"
It's our only way out. And old Roger would have just pulled the trigger.
Vicky slowly, goes to the passenger seat, gets in the car.
Roger, roll your alertness. She's getting in the car. Roll your alertness. Roll your alertness.
29 under 3,000.
What took so long?
Goddamn.
You roll your alertness. You look down the edge of the alley. And you see 2 uniformed police officers about 50 yards away that are on the next street, walking perpendicular to the alley, and they're just kind of like walking by casually, not looking at you, kind of to the side. And one just turns and starts to look down the alley, looks down, sees you standing next to a car that Vicky just got into.
Wait, is it Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner? And are they pulling a heist? Because in that case, they have their own shit going on.
Then you don't have to worry about
That would
it.
be amazing if this
You know
was
what? Give me another alertness. Just notice if it's Ben Affleck
Make double check.
and Jeremy
Boston
Renner.
universe.
Failed.
Hell, they just look like regular cops to you.
Okay. If that's Renner and Affleck, everything's fine.
The guy turns, looks at you, and he starts to do a double take.
Am I not in the car? Or am I getting in? I'm basically getting into the
You're
car.
about to get in the car, so do you just get in the car?
Yep, just get in the car and act naturally. He says, everybody act naturally.
Okay. He looks at you a long second and then just kind of keeps walking down past.
All right.
Way looks clear to pull out and drive down the alley right where those 2 cops were, past them and out onto an actual street.
Well, wait a minute. Make sure the cops aren't lingering and then start the car.
What kind of car is it?
What do you want it to be?
A Hyundai Sonata.
Oh, perfect.
And I want it to
Perfect
be
chef car.
Very sensible.
forest
Very
green.
sensible, yeah.
A forest green 92 Hyundai Sonata.
Okay.
Perfect.
So he doesn't have a fob.
No, he upgraded the... All right, so... boop, boop. Fucking driving, obeying all the rules of the road.
Okay, so you pull down this alleyway, turn onto the street toward where the cops are walking or away from where
Yeah, I
they're
want to
walking?
run the cops over on my way out of there.
Cover our tracks.
Just stay cool.
Well, if it's Boston, the odds are it's a one-way street and I won't have any choice.
There you go, perfect. So it's a one-way street right past the cops. Okay. So you make a
Evening,
left.
officers!
You turn out. You turn out and you start driving past this the scene, and you see as you walk, as you head past the 2 police officers, you're looking around like, what's in this car? What does this car have? And you notice up in the upper left where there's a sticker for the registration of the car that it's expired by like 3 months.
Fucking dumb chef.
Yeah, fucking chefs.
Goddamn shit.
All right, so we can't. That sucks. Of all the cars to steal.
The cars to steal.
You should
Vicky-
just pull over, get out, and shoot the guy.
Asshole.
Vicky sees and she's
hold on,
like,
let me-
"Nice job, Roger. Good job robbing this car. Good car."
All right. Well, let's go back to Bobby here. So you basically you notice this and you're just like, fucking chef. And we'll fade out of that as you've started to pull down the street, and then we'll come back to you as you guys kind of decide what to do next. Besides Grand Theft Auto, let's come back to the streets of Yathil, to this city where your father, the colonel, said that you were, and to this situation where, we kind of like all of a sudden everybody is kind of together again, the platoons, and they're standing around the bodies of where these guys were, and they're kind of trying to clear the area, make sure that there's nobody else around in this immediate area, and that all kind of gets cleared up. And this lieutenant, the guy who first came up to you, or first opened the door when you were taken up to see the colonel, there was a lieutenant in that room, if you remember. Mm-hmm. And that lieutenant who outranks you comes up to you, Bobby, and he says, Corporal, you and Lavallee go in there and see 3 doors down there, the 3-story one. And you see there's a 3-story building that still seems somewhat intact. He's like, go in there and clear it. And then he starts turning to other soldiers and having them split up the block to clear buildings to make sure that there are no hiding black wind and no snipers up in those windows or anything like that. So you
yes, sir.
And Lavallee.
Let's go.
Go.
All right. I got my M1 ready and loaded, cocked.
Okay. You step through this door that's like loosely open. You bump it. Push it open.
Check the corners.
You're checking the corners. The house is run down. Seems abandoned. Seems like nobody's in here. And the first floor is rather small. It's like a box. You look through. You see a kitchen. You see a small like living area. But everything looks old. Like it's not from the modern era, right? Like it looks like it's from the 30s or the 40s or something like that. And all the furniture style, all the curtains, the wallpaper, like it just looks all very 100 years ago almost kind of vibe.
Okay. Is there
and it looks
any...
like, people left in the middle of shit. There's still coffee cups like on the kitchen counter that are broken and turned onto their side and stuff like that. Everything's covered in dust and grime.
Any like newspapers around or anything that would say the date or anything like that? No.
That is interesting. Sure, yeah. Why not? Actually, give me a luck roll.
Luck roll. Ooh, 62.
62. Yeah, they're on this floor at least. You don't see any newspapers as you look around the lower floor of this house, and you got 2 more floors to go.
Okay, all right. Is there any other rooms in this floor? Is this floor clear?
Lavallee is like, I think we're clear down here. I don't see anybody behind these steps. He's looking under the steps.
Okay, let's go up to second floor.
Okay, you start to step on the steps to the second floor, and it's just like, like super like shaky. Like feels like your steps could just break right under you, but they don't. Okay. It just seems sort of like shifty. Who's going up first, you or Lavallee?
I'll be
You're in
lead.
charge here. All right,
yeah,
so
I'll take the lead.
You're the lead. So you start walking up these steps. You get this big rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a stealth.
Do I hear anything? Oh,
give me. I'm sorry, not a stealth. Like you said, give me a search roll.
Search. Oh shit.
So you're listening, or you know what? Alertness is better here because this is like your life is threatened. So
okay,
give me alertness.
Alertness. Ooh, double zeros.
Oh
no,
that's a critical failure.
That's a critical failure.
I was like, that's low, right?
You know what's lucky? You are completely alone in this house, and you don't have to worry about it. Okay. You come up the steps to the second floor, and you see what seems to be like a series of bedrooms. 3 bedrooms all along this little balcony way, but it's not a balcony because I'm really look over, but it bends around, and then you see another set of stairs going up.
So I'm gonna slowly open the first door of the first bedroom.
The door is ajar, but just slightly.
Oh, okay.
Using your gun, you kind of like touch it, and it's like ease it open, and you feel like you hear something. Like the shuffling of feet, maybe? Or a step? The squeak of a floorboard? Something in the room.
All right. I signal to Lavallee. Somebody's in here. Hand signal. Whatever the army hand signal is.
Okay.
In the night.
You don't see anything. You just heard something.
Okay, I'm gonna step into the room.
You step into the room, and you're like, is this my steps? Or is this other steps that I'm hearing? And all of a sudden, you stop. You step into the room a little ways. Lavallee comes in behind you, gun pointed at the corners. You see nothing in the room, no threats. You see a bed frame with no mattress on it that is broken in the middle, and sort of torn down. You see a shattered mirror that is in pieces, all kind of underneath the bed. Over in the corner, you see a lamp that is still standing on an end table. They're all covered in dust. You hear that squeak again. And you hear what sounds like a door opening. And the sound's coming from above you.
Okay.
As you look up, you see that the like drywall that was up there, if there ever was any, sort of anything covering the wood, it's all been crumbled down onto the floor that you're standing on, and you're just seeing like raw wood beams above you, floor slats, and you can see some little bit of light coming through those slats and shadows kind of moving past. As each foot steps, small bits of dust, sawdust and other, drywall kind of ish dust crumble and come down kind of onto your helmet and onto the side of your face when you start to hear voices. You hear somebody talking to somebody else upstairs. You listening in closely, trying to hear what they're saying?
Yes.
Bobby stops everything. He's trying to listen to what they're saying. You start to hear, I'm muffling it a little bit, but I don't want to do it for too long. This comes muffled, but as you listen, you can hear it kind of clearer and clearer the more that you focus on it. The sound of a voice coming through, saying, "What am I doing here, trooper? I'm busy. I had a busy day ahead of me. Barely got any sleep last night. You know I don't have a newborn at home." You hear this other voice. "Sorry, sir. It's just urgent. Really wanted to bring this to you right away." "What isn't? Trooper, spit it out." This one, they picked him up yesterday, and he was unconscious, and they stabilized him. But his ID, sir, it says he's Massachusetts State Detective. It says he's somebody named Michael Blevins. But he's not in the system, sir. What are you talking about? What do you mean he's not in the system? He's not, sir. I think it's fake. So he's impersonating an officer? You're hearing all this coming up from this upstairs bedroom. And it's starting to like put you back into the realization of like that you were in Boston. Like you were just in Boston.
I remember this.
Like you remember Michael Blevins. You remember like that was Michael Bivens rather. Right. Michael Bivens. That was you. That was like your identification.
I look at Lavallee. Can he hear the talking? Like I silently check to see he is.
Lavallee is looking up and he's looking at you kind of like wide-eyed. Like, what do we do? You hear the voice coming over again. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I signal to Lavallee that we're gonna go upstairs and quietly get closer.
Okay. You start to go around to the steps to head upstairs. Give me a stealth check.
Oh, fuck me. Ooh, 26. Where's my stealth? God damn it. 26 under 36, yes.
26 under 36, yes!
Yes.
All right, you start up these steps. This next set of steps, not as squeaky. But you get up and outside the door, and you hear, click, a door opens. And as you're looking at it, you don't see a door opening. You see the closed door to the room that's above the room you were just in. You look next to you or behind you, like kind of as you're coming to the top of this floor, none of the other doors have just opened. All of a sudden you hear this voice coming from that room again. And it's just like, Sir, it's him. He's one of them. What are you two talking about? The patients, the mental patients, the ones that escaped. That's why he's a John Doe. They don't know who he is because he's from there. Let me see what you're talking about. Look, it's on my phone. It's on my phone. You're hearing all this coming out of this room.
Oh, fuck. And at that moment, I think it's starting to piece together in Bobby's mind where he is. He remembers coming out of the the Dorchester into that house and remembers falling down on that on the floor of that house and just passing out. And he starts putting it together. He's like, wait a minute. I was in Boston. I was in Boston. And he's going to reach for the door to open it.
You reach
very
down.
gently.
You open up the door, and there's nobody in the room. Empty.
I look to
It
Loblos.
looks like every other room in this building. It's like you heard phantoms.
Loblos, I check with that. Hey, did you hear that? Did you just hear people talking?
Yeah, I heard something. I couldn't really make it out, but yeah, there were people in there. So he comes into the room behind you. He's looking around. Christ, maybe they got out the window. And he starts walking past you to go to another bedroom.
There's nothing in this room at all? Nothing that like looks out of the...
It looks like every other room. Busted furniture, torn up, abandoned.
All right.
He's gonna rotten food on the floor. It's like it's just like every other room.
We're going to check every other room on this floor.
You go through the rest of the house, clear it out. There's no evidence of anybody ever being in there. But you're thinking you might have heard voices. Voices that might have been somewhere else.
Right.
That were saying you are an escaped mental patient. Let's cut away from Bobby.
Oh my God.
I think Bobby's got enough to deal with.
I don't know what the fuck is going on
at the moment.
Oh my God. I'm losing my shit.
And get back to Vicky, Bobby, and Roger. Or I'm sorry, Vicky, Neil, and Roger. You guys are in a forest green Hyundai Sonata, pulling down the street away from these police officers that did not notice you. You were acting casually. And Troy, it looks like you're back. Are you back? You were frozen there for a sec.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
We had a bit of a power outage.
Lovely.
Yes.
But all right, so we're going to cut back to you guys in the car. I just want to know, what are your intentions from this moment? You're driving away.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, then just tell me what happens in the next 8 seconds.
All right, seeing that the car needs an updated registration, that's a problem. Now, having been someone that's driven around with expired registration many times in my life, both as a teenager,
having worked in many restaurants,
young adult and adult, it's you don't always get pulled over, but we don't want to play with that fire. Now, I do think that Roger's Airbnb, which, if I remember correctly from last season, is along Mass Ave or Com Ave. I can't remember. But I feel like that is a safe place. I don't think he would have booked it under his name, being here on unofficial Delta Green business. So I feel like that is a safe enough place, and then we could ditch the car and see if we can get another car. That's what Roger is pitching to the crew.
Vicky, hearing this, is like, that's fine, but Neil wants to go to New York. Neil is demanding to take a carriage ride to New York.
Okay, well.
And I need to see Christopher, and I need to find out what's going on with Sam.
Don't worry about him. And Murray will be fine.
Lies are not becoming.
We could tell Neil that we're in New York right now. He wouldn't fucking know. Hey, Neil, you enjoying the carriage that I got? We're going to go through Central Park in a minute.
Vicky raised her eyebrows at Roger.
Oh. Sorry I offended Neil.
Fine, let's go to the Airbnb and then we'll figure it out from there. We'll figure out how to get another car. And then what do we do, Roger?
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drop you off in front of my Airbnb with the keys. You're going to go up. You're going to head up there. We can't leave Neil. All right, I'm going to drop you and Neil off in front of the Airbnb. You're going to walk up there, go inside, close the door. and chop off all your hair. Then I'm going to drive this car into an alleyway, take care of our friend, and then I'm going to walk back because we don't want the stolen car being found outside of my Airbnb.
Sorry, why am I going to chop off my hair? I'm confused about it.
We all have to change our appearance.
Where are we going? Are we staying here?
One thing at a time, Vicky. One thing at a time. Right now, we need to change our appearance and get someplace safe. My Airbnb is a safe house, and the host left snacks.
Fine. I'm too tired to argue with you. Let's just go, and then we will figure it out.
We'll have you pull up in front of your Airbnb. A note for Vicky. Vicky, you're still in the clothes that you were wearing when you went to the Dorchester house. You have not been back to your Airbnb since, and you...
Stink.
It sounds like you're not going to go there.
I guess.
Just FYI, just putting the whole picture in your mind.
Yeah.
Neil, you are in the car with Roger. Are you going to get out in front of his Airbnb here and go up with Vicky? Okay, so we see the car pull up and we see you two get out and start walking into the Airbnb, and then Roger, you pull away.
Yeah.
You're driving to an alleyway somewhere.
Yes.
Where are you going to murder this poor chef?
All right, so tell me what happens.
All right, so Roger, he doesn't want to drive too far because he doesn't want to be on the street for too long as he's walking back to this apartment. But, you know, along like Newbury Street, Mass Ave, Com Ave all run parallel to each other, and there's little like alleyways in between. There's lots of little places you can kind of pull around. Do you remember that Airbnb we had at PAX? And
Yeah.
we met the host, this
Yeah.
like 24-year-old girl that owned a condo on Com Ave.
Damn.
In this like little back area parking lot.
Yeah, there was
situation.
like a little back
wants
alley
to
parking lot.
He wants to find something even more discreet, like really closed off. And so there's an alleyway 3 or 4 blocks away.
Give me a search roll. He doesn't know Boston. He's looking for a place as he's driving and trying to dodge getting
This
found.
This isn't Baltimore.
He's just looking for a good place.
Yeah.
Where
A
no
good
one's
place.
gonna hear loud noises. Dude, 14 under cock. I don't know.
Undercut.
I've got
It's
a
at
pretty
least
good
20, so I think it's 20.
under 29. Okay.
29, yeah. So, okay, great. You find a pretty secluded place that you pull back into that seems like it's rather protected from the outside.
Roger just pulls in, looks in the rearview mirror, and just sees like sort of the top of the hood of the car, and we know that he's looking at this guy in the trunk that he can't see, but he knows that he's in there, and he's just thinking about what the fuck to do here.
When you feel in the mirror someone sitting in the back seat.
I try to focus my eyes on the person or thing.
Suddenly the air starts to materialize almost into like a vaguely humanoid shape sitting in the passenger seat rear of the car.
Are you here, or are you here, there?
Follow him. You hear this voice coming from the back seat, and it seems strangely distorted and distant. Follow him.
Follow who?
He has the crown.
Neil.
Good. You turn away, and when you look back, there's nothing there.
Roger opens the car door.
Click.
And walks around to the trunk.
Whew.
An awareness roll. Just, is there anybody in the vicinity watching, listening?
Yeah.
44 crit success, under 84.
Yeah. There's what seems to be a homeless guy. Just sort of walking along the side of one building. Doesn't seem to be looking at you at the moment, but is kind of like talking to himself and slowly walking. He seems to have like a really big coat on or something, like almost like he's big and hunched over.
So Roger goes to put the key in the trunk and then sees this homeless guy. And he walks over to the homeless guy. Says, hey sailor.
As you start to walk over to the homeless guy, you notice that this big kind of hunch on his back is a snake. Like a really big snake python that's wrapped around his shoulders. He's a little bit distant, and even as you start to walk, he starts to pick up speed.
Towards me or away from
Away from you.
Hey.
Even faster.
Hey. Roger stops.
His head sort of turns slightly, and he keeps shuffling away, kind of like, it seems like in fear.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool. I got something for you.
And you hear this car horn honk extremely loud as this car pulls up right behind you, almost hits you as it turned quickly into the alley.
I was like, whoa.
You turn around, and you just see a guy. What the fuck, man? Get out of the road! Get out of the alley road!
Roger looks at his registration sticker. Is it current?
Dude, so current.
Horrible luck.
This thing's nice too.
Like he just got it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a 2015 Acura.
He just drove off the lot into the alleyway and met Roger. Wow, that's
It's a red 2015 Acura sedan, 4-door. And he stops in front of you. The fuck, man? He's in a tie, shirt and tie. Looks like he might be going to the office late or something like that. It's 10, 11 in the morning. It's something in that range. It's the morning.
This is so hard for this psychopath.
He's just murder everyone, take the car.
I really try to get into his head and not just do what seems interesting or fun all the time. And so this is a car. He needs this car.
But then there's the possibility of another witness. You gotta
Yeah, but that guy's not a reliable witness. He's crazy.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
I said, hey, God, I don't know where this is gonna go. Hey, I need your help.
Come on, man. Get out of the road. I'm late. I gotta
need
go,
your help.
man.
There's somebody in that trunk. There's somebody that's in that trunk.
What?
There's somebody in the trunk over there. I need your help.
For Christ's sake.
Please.
And the guy looks around, he reaches down, takes off his seatbelt, click, gets out of the car. What's going on?
Please.
Walks over.
Please, I live in that building and I heard banging coming from this car over here in the trunk. There's somebody locked in the trunk. I don't know what to do. I don't have my cell phone on me.
Jesus Christ. He starts walking over. He's got a buttoned-up dress shirt tucked in. He's in pretty good shape, slim, belt on, slacks, khaki slacks. Just looks like he's going to an office job. And he starts walking up toward the car that you're pointing at.
All right.
This one?
Yeah, this one right here. Let me see if
and he hits the side of the car. And then bam, bam. This bang comes back. Jesus Christ!
I told you, right?
Well, did you call the I'll call the cops.
No, don't call the cops. Hold on.
Pulls out his phone.
Let's see
Dude,
if
911, that's what it's for, man.
No,
911.
but we're gonna look guilty if you call the cops. We're gonna look like we did this.
You just found him.
I know, but if they come...
He's bringing up the phone thing and he's starting to call 911.
And Roger just slaps the phone out of his hand.
And he goes like wide-eyed, backs up 2 steps, and starts to run.
And
like,
Roger is
toward
just
his car.
Roger just comes up behind him and runs and just smashes him on the back of the head with a pistol.
Nice.
Shoot. Boom! Boom! This guy goes down in the street. He's not unconscious. You hear him moaning, reaching back to grab his head. His fingers are shaking as you see blood start to come out from his cracked skull. It starts like pouring down the back of his neck a little bit. And he starts touching and he's like moving real slow and awkwardly. This other guy's banging in the trunk. Roger looks at one, looks at the other, and has to decide what to do before next week. We'll see you next week! Jesus Christ!
Holy shit.
Oh my.
No choice. You could have just stepped out of the way and you would have driven to work.
This life of mine.
You left me no choice. I love it.
That's great.